Before I get into the details of everything, I'm just going to show you the drops from just one run. I get an enhancement core, enhancement prism, an ascendant shard, and my inventory is full, but I also get Artifice armor. In just one run, one chest open, and this is super easy and takes at most 2 to 3 minutes. So let's get into it. First up, and the most important thing for this farm, is that the Spire of the Watcher dungeon has to be on pinnacle rotation. That's because we're doing this for Artifice armor and ascendant shards and upgrade materials, so we need to do the master version. And that's only available when Spire of the Watcher is the weekly featured dungeon. Now, as for what we're doing specifically inside of the dungeon, we're taking advantage of the Ascend the Spire encounter, the first real encounter of the dungeon. So that means you have to get through that opening, connect the dots area, and then when you get your first rally banner, that's when you know this is where the farm is going to start. This farm does take advantage of the checkpoint sharing method to make sure that you can always just run it back as many times as you want without having to redo the entire dungeon. So to do this farm as efficient as possible, you're gonna want to have at least one other person with you. For solo players, this is difficult, I won't lie, especially because you have to do that first encounter area alone. Granted, it's not impossible. And as for the encounter of the farm itself, it actually pretty much can be done solo, because in the footage you're watching in the background, I pretty much did it solo. Just so you can kind of see how everything works. But also, this was my friend's first time doing this farm, so I was teaching him. But that just goes to show you how easy this is. Because you really only need one person to actually do the farm, and you saw the drops in the beginning. Artifice armor plus upgrade materials, it's kind of crazy, actually. I don't see people talk about this, so I'm here to talk about it. So first up, I'm going to do a quick tutorial of the checkpoint sharing thing, just for anybody that doesn't know, so they don't get lost. And if you do know how to do this, I've got timestamps down below, so you can just quickly skip past this section and go straight into learning the tips and how to do it in about 2 minutes. So first things first is you're going to rock up to the first rally banner thing. This is probably on your main character, probably the one you want to farm on. In this case, you're going to have your teammate with you, and you're going to change character. In the video you're seeing, I'm choosing my hunter to hold the checkpoint on, so I will not be getting Artifice armor for my hunter. I'm going to then join my friend Baka, who is currently where I left the team at. You're going to go through the loading screens, listen to Osiris, and then you'll load in to the dungeon. Step 1, have your teammate revive you. And then step 2, pretty simple, is jump off the ledge. And you're going to wipe. Once you've wiped, whichever class you're on will now have that checkpoint. So when you go to orbit, you can actually check and make sure that when you go to the Spire of the Watcher dungeon, you have this checkpoint marker next to the launch button. That means you did it right, and now you can start the farm. The best way to start is just join back to your teammate on the one that you want to farm on, so your main class. But then, when you complete your next run, you're going to change character, go back to whichever class you held the checkpoint on. In my case, it's the hunter. You'll have your teammate, whoever you're farming with, join you. And once they've joined, you're going to go ahead and fly in to Spire the Watcher. And remember to do it on master mode so you have that checkpoint. And then once you're flying in, you just change character to the one you want to farm on again. And as soon as you can, because you're going to have to wait for your teammate to load all the way in, you join your teammate, and the farm continues. That's it. So now that you know how to do the setup for the farm, let's talk about getting this done quickly and confidently so you can just really bang it out, kind of turn your brain off and just get some nice loot. First thing to note is the only enemy you have to kill is the first Overload champion. I recommend using a chill clip weapon, like the Deliverance, because you can just fire one burst at it, it instantly gets stunned, and then you can nuke it with, in my case, I use an LMG, because they do pretty good damage, It was the current surge, meaning they do 25% more damage, as well as they have some real big magazine sizes, which means you pretty much don't have to reload at all, whether you're killing stuff or using it to shoot the nodes like you're seeing in the footage. The next thing I'm going to recommend, because we are in master content, is having some type of survivability. In my case, I was simply on healing grenade. I already run solar, and I usually do a sunbracers build, but healing grenades are instant action. I need my health back. You know how good they are. So whenever you're in a pickle, pop a healing grenade, you're good. Hunters, using like an arc hunter so that you can get health off of your melee, or using invis hunter because you're invis. And I even used the threaded spectre aspect on Strand because whenever I dodged, it took aggro off of me. So pretty much anything to just give you some breathing room, perfectly fine. Titans, you're kind of in the same boat as Warlocks or whatever. You can just put on a healing grenade on Solar or Woven Mail with Strand. Titans have a lot of survivability. I'd say more so than Warlocks and Hunters. So I think you're pretty good here. As for completing the actual encounter, hopefully you've done this dungeon before and you know it's simply just connecting the dots. When you're farming with a partner or two other people, definitely assign one person to each line, because really there are only 2 roles, so the third person can just go around and help, kill ads, do whatever. So with 2 people, that's when it goes the fastest, and each person doing their own thing means it gets done, well, twice as fast. And like I said, in some of the footage you're seeing, I pretty much did it solo as my friend was learning how to farm this on Master. And even then, it doesn't take long, and it's easy if you just have someone that knows where all the nodes are or remembers, making this also easy on solo. But of course, 2 people know what they're doing, you're going to get it done really quick in less than 2.5 minutes. There was one thing I tried, which was Strand Grapple on Hunter, which is good, but it's not really super helpful because you do need to shoot the nodes while you're moving. And so I kind of just felt like, other than it's cool, I'm grappling around this tower, it wasn't super necessary. Granted, everything else I've said about Strand, giving Woven Mail and stuff, grapple hook is kind of just a nice movement bonus. And speaking of movement bonuses, Warlocks, I definitely recommend Icarus Dash. There are some jumps in this where you need to change your momentum really quickly, and if you're using an LMG like I am, having a sword isn't really an option, so Icarus Dash for sure. So that's the tips and how I can help you complete this encounter and farm done. I also want to talk a little bit more on the actual loot that you're going to get from this. So you can get upgrade materials, as you saw at the beginning of the video. You can get armor, being the arms, legs, and head for Artifice. But you can also get 2 weapons. You can get the 7th Seraph Carbine Auto Rifle and the Long Arm Scout Rifle. The weapons aren't bad, but that's not what we're here for. So while there's the majority of the chance that you're going to get armor, there will be times where you get weapons, and that's just how it is. Granted, with how quickly you can do this whole process, it makes any weapons you get feel like nothing, because you can just run it back in less than 2 minutes, and you're done. You got another roll. And so with that, that's all I've got to say. And also for anybody that had watched my previous video on this dungeon farm, thank you for coming back. I feel like it's important to remake these every season because, well, there's new players, and this stuff is good. I don't want people to miss out. So if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much. If you got this far, I am super, super, super appreciative of you. If you want to support me and support the channel, a like is greatly, greatly appreciated, along with a subscription. But also, if you can't think of a comment down below, Spire. And finally, I hope you're having a great day, and I hope to see you around.